You have big dreams. You can see yourself succeeding so clearly it feels almost real, as you visualize the business, the creative freedom, and the life you actually want to live. But when it comes to sitting down and doing the actual work, you freeze, you wait, and you tell yourself that tomorrow will be different, only for tomorrow to come, so you can do the exact same thing all over again. You are not alone in this, because there is an entire hidden category of people who are exactly like you. Highly ambitious, but completely paralyzed by what feels like laziness. You are full of massive ideas, but stuck in place. And the worst part is that you know you are capable of more, yet you just cannot seem to make your body move. This video is not going to give you a generic, toxic productivity speech, because this isn't about you lacking intelligence, talent, or being a bad person. This is about psychology and specific neurobiological patterns built into your brain over time. If a pattern was built, it can be rewired. But first, you need to understand the dark psychology of why your mind is fighting your ambition. Let's paint a realistic picture of what your life looks like right now. You wake up with incredible intentions, telling yourself that today is the day you finally start that project and take the first step toward your goal. But then, you check your phone. You tell yourself it's just for a few minutes, but those few minutes turn into an hour, and before you know it, half the day is gone. The guilt starts to creep in, so you make a new deal with yourself. I'll start right after lunch. Lunch comes and goes, and now you feel sluggish and unmotivated. Your brain whispers that it's better to start tomorrow when you have more energy, and the cycle repeats. At night, you lie in bed feeling deeply defeated and disappointed in yourself, knowing you wasted another 24 hours of pure potential. To stop the emotional pain, you make massive, elaborate plans in your head for the next morning, feeling a sudden surge of late-night motivation. But when tomorrow actually arrives, that motivation is completely gone, and you are back to scrolling, back to avoiding, and back to doing anything except the one thing you know you should be doing. This loop hasn't just been happening for days. For many of you, it's been going on for months or even years, and you're starting to wonder if you are simply fundamentally broken. Here is what is actually happening beneath your skull, because you are living in a permanent state of internal warfare. One part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, dreams big, sets goals, calculates long-term rewards, and imagines your ultimate success. But another, much older part of your brain has one single priority, which is avoiding discomfort, demanding absolute safety, ease, and energy conservation. Right now, the part that wants comfort is winning, not because you are weak-willed, but because your brain is evolutionarily designed to avoid pain and seek immediate pleasure. When you think about working on your massive, ambitious goals, your ancient survival brain doesn't see a brighter future. It sees a threat, intense effort, cognitive friction, uncertainty, and the terrifying possibility of failure. To protect you from that perceived threat, your brain immediately offers an escape hatch by telling you to scroll on your phone, watch an automated video feed, or play a game. The moment you comply, your brain floods your system with a cheap hit of dopamine. The discomfort instantly vanishes, and your brain learns an incredibly dangerous lesson. Avoiding your goals equals feeling safe and good. This isn't laziness. This is survival mode, where your brain genuinely thinks it's protecting you. But while it protects you from short-term discomfort, it is systematically stealing your long-term existence. Every single day you choose comfort over execution. You actively train your brain to believe that your dreams do not actually matter. When you are trapped in this cycle, your immediate reaction is to think that you just lack discipline, believing that successful people must have some magical, genetic quality that you don't possess. You tell yourself that if you just find the right motivational video or wait for the right spark, everything will change. But that is a complete lie. Motivation is nothing but an emotional weather pattern that comes and goes with the wind, meaning you cannot build a monumental life on a fleeting feeling. You don't need motivation. You need structure and reliable systems. Because discipline is not something you are born with, it is something you build one small decision at a time. There is also a second psychological anchor holding you back, which is perfectionism. Because your vision of success is so incredibly high, anything less than a masterpiece feels like an absolute failure to you. So you wait. You wait for the perfect plan. You wait until you feel 100% ready. And you wait for ideal conditions. But perfect never shows up. Ready never arrives, and ideal never comes. Perfectionism is not a badge of honor, nor is it about having high standards. Perfectionism is simply fear disguised as excellence. It is an elegant excuse your brain manufactures to keep you from ever starting, because if you never start, you can never fail. You are simply afraid that if you actually try and it does not work out, you will have to face the truth that maybe your ideas are not as good as they seemed. So it feels easier to stay in the safe fantasy of what you could achieve if you wanted to. To destroy this loop and step out of the fantasy, you must begin by accepting an incredibly liberating, cold, hard truth. You are never going to feel like doing it. You will likely never wake up bursting with biological excitement to do incredibly difficult things, because that is simply not how the human brain is wired. You have to take action, especially when you do not feel like it, because every time you execute, despite the intense internal resistance, you physically rewire your neural pathways and teach your brain that discomfort is not dangerous. To do this effectively, you must start ridiculously small instead of trying to overhaul your entire life overnight, which is just your perfectionism trying to sabotage you again. Pick one micro-action, like working with total focus for exactly 15 minutes, writing one single paragraph, or making one uncomfortable phone call. It does not matter how small it is. What matters is crossing the line from thinking to doing, because consistency builds momentum. Momentum builds habits, and habits build lives. Furthermore, you must realize that this is not a willpower problem. It is an environmental design problem. Highly productive people don't have superhuman willpower. They simply design environments where distractions are physically removed. If your phone is sitting right next to your mouse, your brain will always take the path of least resistance and pick it up. Therefore, alter the architecture of your room by putting your phone in another part of the house, turning off every notification, closing unnecessary browser tabs, and making it physically harder to be distracted than it is to focus. Now, let's address a reality that you might not want to hear right now. You need to stop consuming so much content about productivity. You spend hours watching videos about success, reading self-help frameworks, and listening to motivational podcasts, which tricks your brain into believing that learning about execution is the same thing as actually executing. But it is just a highly sophisticated form of procrastination. You do not need more information because you already know exactly what you need to do. So the moment this video ends, I want you to close this app, stop looking for another video, and go do one single thing that moves your ambition forward. Allow your initial work to be terrible, because every master began as a disaster. And while quality comes later, consistency must come first. Progress is never a straight line, meaning you are going to mess up, skip days, and experience setbacks. But people who succeed simply acknowledge the mistake and immediately get back on track without letting guilt or shame paralyze them. Ambition without real-world action is nothing but an empty delusion. So stop endlessly planning your life and start aggressively living it by taking one small step today to teach your brain that you are serious this time. You have spent more than enough time imagining the ideal version of yourself. And since nobody is going to step in and save you from yourself, it is time to sit down. Embrace the discomfort and go build the life you want, one choice at a time.